I look just like my beauty queen grandmother Alice. My sister Amber is so freaking jealous. She's always trying to steal names. I don't know what that's about, but she puts foster children like me at risk by appropriating. She named her son Legend after I named Ethan that, and then changed it. Of course, I went back to change Ethan's name, so now his name is Perseus and not Legend. He used to be called Ethan Roman Legend. When he was first born, that was his name for like a week. And then his dad didn't like that name really at all. And from jail, threw a big fit and said that he preferred the name Perseus better. So I went back like a week after he was born and to the hospital, and I changed his name. So anyways, now my sister Amber legally changed her name to Alice, which is my grandmother's name, who is a beauty queen. And it's just really interesting that I'm the only one in my family that turns out with really dark features, like dark eyes and dark hair. And that would make me the only one in the family that is actually a little bit different. And the reason why I don't look as white as the rest of them is because of my grandmother Alice. And I look just like my beauty queen grandmother Alice, who Amber named herself after legally. My sister Amber legally named herself after my grandmother Alice. Why she can't name herself after her own grandma, Dorothy, the one that smells like pee and wears diapers. So, that's how crazy my sister Amber has become. I kind of wonder, like, is she on drugs? Because her behavior is so psychotic that it makes you wonder. I never understood why men prefer dumb women. Welcome back to the program, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Good morning or good afternoon to all of my viewers, listeners, and Soul Tribe family. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory. It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory is a nonprofit social service agency suicide prevention campaign servicing the needs of families and foster children at risk, lending my voice to help raise awareness by soft publishing a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a graphic novel based on true events following my life as a freelance artist. This program is intended to help encourage, heal, and empower survivors of cancel culture and rape culture, providing free information and evidence regarding child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, electronic harassment, gang stalking, conspiracy, and true organized hate crimes against humanity, collective and covert. Your company can help by providing funds and a grant, or by donating goods and services as I continue delivering this information and evidence to the general public and advocating for foster children in need. On today's episode, I'm going to be discussing gang stalking, occult ritual stalking, also known as community harassment, hypersimulation theory, covert psychological operations, plus surviving the New World Order, surviving the New World Disorder, per usual, surviving manufactured chaos, surviving manufactured karma, surviving American genocide, and surviving the electronic targeting Holocaust. My name is Adrienne Alice. I am the author and creator of a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a book trilogy reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture, child sex trafficking, and psychological gas chambers. On this program, I advocate for women's rights, basic human rights, and the rights of those disabled. I also advocate on behalf of the foster children in the CPS system, orphans, single mothers, foster mothers, and those less fortunate. Targeted individuals or trafficked victims are predominantly women. 65 to 70% of targeted individuals are white American women or those who identify as such. This makes gang stalking an illegal operation or hate crime that is sexually and politically motivated towards American women and their children. This program is a dedication to the targeted individual community. The objective of the opposition or the counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO 2.0, is to subvert all of the target's potentiality, to terminate and to punish all supporters and sympathizers, to round down the target's output and audience, to marginalize the target, to eliminate connections and networking ability. Gang stalking is a covert counterintelligence operation to deprive and isolate the victim for climate control, to stage a synthetic psychological collapse via covert community harassment methods for trafficking and slavery, to stage a synthetic suicide programming for eugenics, to deprive the victim of any peace and justice for social injustice, also known as hate crimes against humanity. All right, so in any case, back to the rape culture at hand. It rapes and it robs. It literally takes and takes and takes. It earns absolutely nothing. Everything is given to it, and whatever is not given to it, it takes. After it robs its victim of its sex and body, after it rapes and robs its victim of its sex and body, after it rapes you, it takes your body, it steals you of your body, and robs you of your sex. After the rapist that belongs to this rape cult and the rest of these shills, after it rapes you and robs you of your own body, it'll then take you to court and sabotage your reputation, lie to defame you, slander, and rob you of your good reputation. Statements forged for court from its family members, an example, the mother with a solid reputation, and the chief of police, Uncle Rex Caldwell, with a highly esteemed reputation. It forges witness testimonies from these relatives in court so that it can rob and rape you of your good reputation. After it rapes you and robs you of your body and your sex, after it robs you of your good reputation, it'll then hire an attorney to clear its own name. So it's not enough to be a winner or to win in this case, unless everybody else is losing. And not just one thing, but every single thing. So again, it earns nothing. It lies. It is completely fraudulent. It forges witness testimonies for court. If you look at the bottom of the witness testimony that was typed up by Jason, they are both for Lori Caldwell and for Rex Caldwell, who is the chief of police of Marysville, retired now. They are both forged, signed, and forged by the same exact person. That person is Jason. This witness testimony is to slander and defame you, to rob and rape you of your good reputation. I'm not the only person that he's raped. There's another woman by the name of Bobby. I'm not sure what her last name is, but they broke up and he said he fucked her one last time or one more time. And based on the evidence, based on the facts, and based on the situation, the case at hand, I can affirm that I was not the only one that he did this to, that he actually had done this before to Bobby, his ex-girlfriend. He said they broke up and he fucked her one more time and left, never seen her again. He didn't fuck her. He raped her. Just for the record. I'm not the only one he's done this to. So then it hires an attorney to rob you and rape you systemically of your home and everything else, to possess you, your reputation, and everything else that you own, the way it possesses your body, the way it rapes your body. It's going to possess everything else about you the same way, similarly. It abuses the court system to rob you of your child custody, and robs you of your court-ordered visitation, robs you or rapes you of your vehicle, jobs, family and friends, etc. After it abuses the court system to rob you of your child, vehicle, home, family, jobs, and friends, etc., this is when you'll start to notice an acceleration in the gang stalking, that whole go woke, go broke operation. So, at this point, you will be facing homelessness from this point on, pretty much for the rest of your life. The court honors his fraudulent forged testimonials from his family. Like I said, if you look at the quote letters or the testimonial witness testimonies from his family, they're fraudulent, they're forged. They have the same signature at the bottom of both typed up letters. Both were typed and signed, forged by the same person. That person is Jason. And you all can see this for yourself, as this is all public record. You'll notice how this rape culture gets down. And how obvious it is that these two witness testimonies from the family on his side, on my son's, Silas's side of the family, how both of these testimonies, these witness testimonies, were forged. They're both fraudulent. They're obviously signed by the same person. That person is Jason, the rapist, doing the most to clear his name. After being raped, after it robs you of your sex, after it robs you of your good reputation, after it robs you of your home, child custody, visitation, jobs, family, friends, vehicle. So in any case, like I was saying, at this point, you'll be facing homelessness pretty much from this point on. After being raped, after it robs you of your sex and your body, and not just you, but others, because that's what it is. It's an it. A rapist is a terrorist. A trafficker is a terrorist. That's why they're called its. After it robs you of your home, a slave owner is an it. It's not a person. It's an it. After it robs you of your home, child custody, visitation, jobs, family, friends, vehicle, at this point you will be facing homelessness. Then it lies, forges fraudulent witness testimonies in court by its well-esteemed relatives, which, by the way, none of them ever knew me personally, so I don't even know how it could say one way or another. In any case, after it's done all of this, it then comes in for the kill and robs you of your sanity. So, At the point where you're facing homelessness, it comes in for the kill and systemically robs you of your sanity using these harassment methods and all of this gang stalking that is intended to protect the lives of the police. In any case, when you're abused by the police for complaining, these bruises, black eyes, and busted bloody red lips is mocked by the electronic corpse in algorithm simulating psyops, and the black eyes and the blood red lips are reframed by the electronic corpse and called a quote holiday glow up. And this is all done because of rape culture. It's all supported by the police, the FBI, the CIA, everybody. This is all eugenics. I mean, I just mentioned it. So, in any case, so you can see how it stages this methodically, one hit after another, after another, after another. So, like I was saying, in any case, with the death of Jennifer Ofaisa, Jerron's baby cousin, she was murdered. In order to mock me, it has to introduce the idea of death while all of this is going on, and it has to continuously do this. So people who support or sympathize with myself, in any case, these people who support or sympathize, they are also targeted and they're put on a hit list, what I would call Santa's naughty list. And so all of that Jeff Epstein stuff, this is what it's actually talking about. The victims in these programs, these counter-proliferation targeting programs for eugenics, they are sexually exploited as a form of punishment and torment daily. And not just once or twice or 3 times a day, but I'm talking about 5 times a minute, maybe more, on average. And so there is no peace, there is no justice. And then in any case, it works collectively and covertly to build up false charges. Obviously, it's dirty and it's defensive because it's dirty. People are not defensive for no reason. They're defensive because they're hiding secrets, and they will go to war with you to keep their secrets secret. In any case, I just think it's really interesting that people on Facebook all witnessed Jason's lung collapse because he's addicted to huffing and he's suicidal. He's a suicidal rapist, and he has always been. And that's why I left him. So in any case, really, really happy to be back here on the program today. Hope you all enjoyed this. And if you wouldn't mind, please like, share, subscribe, leave a friendly comment. Even if you say something like fuck Jason, fuck his uncle, fuck his mom, fuck his sister, everything like that. I love it all. Okay? Toodles. Have a great holiday. And just remember, people have to starve and go homeless and be beat and raped, trafficked, exploited, and murdered for you all to get around your family tables each and every Thanksgiving, each and every Christmas, okay? If it wasn't for the loser or the scapegoat in your family that you continuously rape and rob and exploit for a profit, you would not have everything that you have. And if your scapegoat were to treat you with the same level of respect, you would be the one homeless, carless, jobless, begging, starving, and being raped and being beat in your face every day. I get on here every day so I can let people know that these fresh black guys and these scars on my face, like I didn't look like this before, okay? Obviously. And it's just more evidence. So I just like to remind the people that I didn't do this to myself. I don't hate myself. I have enemies. And these enemies really, really, really do enjoy watching and creating misery, torment, suffering, misfortunes, heartache, and laughing at it all. So obviously those are the makings of a very real enemy, and I don't hate myself. And I don't beat or rape myself. I'm not crazy. I don't tell lies. And I don't cheat or beat others. I've never had a victim. I've never had a single victim in my life before. I've never victimized a single person. Not one. Because I'm not a hater. So, other than your ego, your bruised ego, because I speak truth and it offends you, that, that's the only thing I've ever done. So I don't have victims out here testifying to the choir, preaching to the good Lord. Nah, there's none of that exists. I have yet to make a single person, animal, child, or anything like that a victim. Absolutely not. They knew exactly my past. They knew exactly who I am, how many children I have, where I come from, what I'm about, and they proceeded anyways. And that is entirely on them. That's not a victim, okay? So, right at this point, I deal with a lot of my supporters being brainwashed by my enemies and being forced to be brainwashed. They don't have a choice. So like when I sing, like seriously sing, because I'm an artist, world-changing artist, it'll mock me in every way possible. In those that I know of, my relatives and what would be my friends. I don't have any anymore, but I'm just saying what would be before rape culture had its way. It goes into their algorithms and it mocks everything about me. It mocks my teeth, my lips, my sound, my tattoos. It mocks my ass, my sex, my gender, my race. And this is done. So it can stage a synthetic psychological collapse so that it can stage a synthetic suicide programming. So that is why so many people get into car accidents and it's labeled a quote-unquote suicide. It was not. That is why so many people overdose on, I don't know, whatever drugs are out there. I don't do drugs. I've never been a drug addict. I have epilepsy, so I can't partake in that. Never have, never will. In any case, the medication that I do take is for my epilepsy. So, my point is, these gang stalkers intercept to triangulate so they can get you addicted to drugs, so they can create a product of your environment, so they can create bleak circumstances, a bleak living condition, so they can manipulate whatever outcome that they desire. And typically, ordinarily, it wants to get you at your lowest point. So psychologically and emotionally distressed that you're homeless, starving, and nobody wants you. This is all done systemically. It'll put gang stalkers in your midst, literally, to tell you your family doesn't love you, your dad doesn't love you. And then they get so skilled with their programming, this specific verbal abuse and emotional manipulation. They get so good at it. They think they're so smart that they can do this program without actually saying what they mean. This is not healthy. This is a form of schizophrenia, hallucinations. So I have a brother named Michael, and my baby father's name is also Michael. And my mom likes to say things like, Ethan looks just like Mike, your brother. But she means Felicity's father. That is not his dad. Nobody thinks that except for you, except for my mother, because she's schizophrenic. So in any case, they get to the point where it'll start to do these narcissistic abusive tactics, and it thinks you're so dumb when it's playing pretending to be brand new after you provided it with the information and it knows better. But the only way it can outsmart you is by abusing you, pretending to be brand new. So in any case, they block their own blessings by doing this. Like if I tell you I'm in town and I want to visit and I give you all the information and then you're like answering the information that I gave you with a question, it's usually because these narcissists are lying, they're hiding something, and or they're abusing you. They act brand new like if they don't know when they really do. I don't know how you're going to be so insecure that you're insecure about your own name, Amber Dawn McAllister. I don't know how you're going to be so insecure that you're insecure about your own name, but Alice is not your name. Alice is my grandmother's name. And the little insecurity that you have about your name, I really don't understand what that is all about. And I also don't understand why my sister Amber tries to dye her hair blue so it can match her blue eyes. That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Why is she so insecure about the color of her hair? So, in any case, I know my sister Amber is insecure about her teeth. That's why she got braces. She tried to blame the fact that she had fucked up teeth on the abuse that she went through, because I have epilepsy as a result of a brain injury that I received after my sister Mary dropped me. I write about it so eloquently in Lucy's Lair. If you really are interested in the full spill, hot tea, you can check it out for yourself. But that is actually all public record as well. Don't take my word for it. You can look this stuff up. Now, the government does the best it can to try to conceal all of this truth. It does everything in its power to make sure that the truth never reaches your ear. I think it's crazy that my sister Amber literally used Brandon just to get braces, dental insurance, and what have you. And as soon as she got her teeth fixed, she left him. Oh, damn, these hoes are so trifling. I can't. I'm so dead. I've never used a man like that before, dude. So, anyways, before you get ready to say whatever dumb thing you're getting ready to say, before you get ready to do whatever dumb gang stalking rape cult shill thing that you rape cult shills do for the day, I just want to remind you that nobody cares, baby girl. So, anyways, when I was about 4 years old, I remember going to court for CPS and for charges that were being brought up against my biological mother, like child neglect and abandonment and abuse and what have you. And I will never forget my older siblings, specifically my eldest sibling, Stephanie. I will never forget her always professing that if we would not have been taken away by CPS, we would not have survived. And I feel like my eldest siblings, the oldest ones that remember, I feel like they all agree, because I've heard them all say this at some point. If we were not taken into CPS and put into a foster home, we would not survive. We would have died in that home. That has been the bleak conditions that were manufactured for me since birth. Nothing has changed. So nothing has changed, really. Essentially, nothing has changed. The same exact environment that was created, the same deadly climate or environment that was manufactured by these gang stalkers that would have or should have killed us. Nothing has changed. It's exactly the same. I'm still running for my life because of the information that I know and because of my truth. And in any case, I just shout out to people like myself who are brave enough to speak the truth, even though you lose every single thing, and I mean everything, because you are truly doing the Lord's work when you have siblings that are older than you, that are supposed to be the ones looking out for you, protecting you. You're the baby, after all, right? And you're the one that testifies in court, puts them all in a foster home, and saves every single one of their lives. That's called a hero? Excuse me? That's called a hero. And it's only because of my testimony that they were all rescued as well, that we were all put into CPS, that we were all put into a foster home. It's only because I went to court and said, what I knew, honestly. And like my sister Stephanie says, and like the rest of my oldest siblings all agree, we would have died. We would have died if we didn't get taken away by CPS, if we were not put into a foster home, if I did not testify in court and say the things that I said, we would not be alive today. I wouldn't be here. The world would not have ever changed. And for my enemies, I'm sure that's a great, wonderful, theory. I'm sure that's a wonderful, great thing, for the people who are responsible for facilitating all of this hate and these hate crimes and this rape culture and all of this trafficking and what have you. I'm sure for my enemies who are drug traffickers or child sex traffickers or just traffickers in general, I'm sure that would have been a great thing for them if we would not have survived. But thankfully, to my Lord and to my Savior, we all did survive. We survived exactly the bleak conditions that was created by these environmentalists, these atmosphere changers. In any case, when the government can get the parent to care more about meth or crack than the child, that is a form of death in and of itself. A spiritual death, so to speak. And I'm a little bit irritated, as you can tell. Usually I only do this show when I feel compelled. And I was up late and all night last night having dreams. For some odd, strange reason, I had 2 dreams about the tattoo artist that gave me my phoenix. Not one, I had 2. I had 2 dreams that he gave me another tattoo and that it was fucked up. But him and his wife both gave me a big, big hug, like we were best friends or something, I don't know. Anyways, it was really cool, other than the fact that the tattoo came out kind of fucked up, which would have never happened in reality. I mean, okay. You see how these devils and these incubuses, these succubuses or whatever they're called, they like to get down. They reframe things up in a dream. Because they know in reality they can't have what's mine. In any case, my point was this. We would have died. We would have died. Just like Ethan wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have taken him to the hospital that night he got sick. He would have died if it were not for me. So many people forget these things, Like my older siblings, my 7 older siblings that have very little respect or admiration for me. They forget that their lives would have been thrown in the trash with the rest of the things in that home. And that was the idea. That was the whole purpose. But luckily they had a superhero, a part of that family. You guys can call it vain narcissism if you want, but that porn you watch, that girl you jack off to every night, she's a vain narcissist. Matter of fact, all of them are. Psychosadists, no wonder you can't keep a relationship. They're so psycho. Your life is a mess as a man. Because you watch too much porn, and they're all vain narcissists, psychosadists, schizophrenics. That's why your life is a mess. Stop blaming your wife. Stop watching porn and thinking it's going to give you some sort of mental clarity or escape. It's only going to come back to haunt you and make it worse for you in the end. I guarantee you that. In any case, a fucking hero, a world-changing fucking hero. And I can say it, and you can know it, because it's true. It's not vain. It's not narcissism. It's the truth. And I'm not crazy at all. If you don't believe the truth, then you might be the one that's a little crazy. Cuckoo. What's wrong with you? Why do you like to believe lies? You know you're crazy for that, right? So in any case, if I would not have told the authorities exactly what was going on, because all of the rest of the children in that home were already silenced by rape culture. If I wouldn't have told them, if I wasn't the savior that I am, you can call it vain narcissism if you want. You're just projecting. That's literally you. That's your describing. So in any case, if I would not have told them the truth, since every other child in that home was completely silenced, they would have died. We all would not have made it. Everybody in my family knows it. They all say it. They speak it outrightly every time they see me. You know, what you did was, nobody else could have done it, because what I did, nobody else in that family would have been able to do it, because they were all silenced. So my mom jokes and calls me, laughs, mocks, and says, like, if I'm some sort of savior. Well, that's precisely it, though, isn't it? The craziest thing about me is that I've never had a family as an orphaned child in the CPS system. I have never had a family. The one time I had a seizure and was in the ER, I needed my mother to be there for me the most, and she wasn't. She was with somebody else, spending the night with one of her boy toys. And I don't really even know. I think the craziest thing about me is, like, the people I'm referring to in these stories, because they don't actually exist. I don't have a family. So I'm not gossiping about my family. It would be more like ghost stories or phantom stories, something along those lines. And I think that's probably the craziest thing about me of all. Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues. My baby's gone, and I have no teeth to wish you greetings once again.